What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back for another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Sun, and today's challenge we can have a Pokemon Sun hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny dual typing Pokemon. So to run down the rules real quick, we can only catch one Pokemon per route and they must be dual typing throughout their entire lineage. They can't be a single typing even in their first stage, so they have to be dual typing. From there, if you catch them and you use them, you can't ever faint because fainting equals death. So there's gonna be a death counter counting every single time a Pokemon faints on my teams. That's not gonna be fun. Also, there's gonna be a level cap. The level cap is gonna be based on each island kahuna. It's not gonna be the trials. It's gonna be too much of the trials, but it's gonna be each island kahuna. So 4 kahunas, 4 island, and then the elite 4. And of course, on top of that, you can't use items inside of battle. You can use hell items, but you can't use bag items like potions and elixirs. And also on top of that, you gotta play on set mode, so you can't switch out a Pokemon after you beat them. And yeah, that sounds like a lot of rules, but one fun rule that I added, which is gonna be really cool, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully our pictures. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, I want to mention that my mouth is really hurting. There's a wisdom tooth that's actually growing in my mouth right now, and it's like sawing through my gums, and it's not fun. So if it sounds like I'm drooling, I'm probably am slurring my words, my bad. From there, we're gonna start off by going for our starter Pokemon, which is actually one Pokemon that's actually dual typing, which is gonna be Rowlet. Rowlet is a grass and flying type Pokemon just from the jump, so that's really nice to have. So we're gonna actually do one of the longest starter hunts and just reset until we get him. Eventually we get ourselves a shiny Rowlet, which is cool. I think we used it a couple of times at this point, so it's kind of a green color. I love owls. I've been on owl TikTok. It's pretty funny. Anyways, from there, Rowlet does not do too well in the first fight against Hao, but lucky enough we get through him and get ourselves a Z-Ring. From there, we can make our way into Route 1, which I was like, there's some good Pokemon out here. Looks Slowpoke is pretty good, but I actually saved it into the Pokemon Skull where there's actually tons more. So we get Grimer, Magnemite counts, so it's pretty good. So we could get either one. It's pretty nice to have. We get ourselves a Alolan Grimer, which I'm kind of mad about because that means we can't get Magnemite because Magnemite only spawns in this route specifically. So it's whatever. We get ourselves a Alolan Grimer added to my team. Sorry Magnemite, you're out. From there, we get ourselves the free Citrus Berry out here for just beating down the Team Skull members. And then from there, we can make our way into the first trial in the game. We're gonna face off against the Norm type trial and face off against the Gumshoes. We're gonna poison into them and then just clear them down. Grimer's pretty nice. From there, we can make our way into melee metals, which we're gonna start hunting out here. And there's like 4 different Pokemon with like dual typing, so we get either one of these. There's a Cutiefly, there's an Oricorio, there's a Cottonee, a lot of different Pokemon out here. So eventually, we're gonna get ourselves a shiny Cutiefly, which I'm like, okay, I haven't used this in a long time, so this might be good. Maybe I wish I could have got a Cottonee, or maybe I wish I could have got Oricorio, which, you know, I never used before, so I don't think I've used too often in the past, so would have been more fun. But we get ourselves a Cutiefly. From there, I mean, I talk a lot of smack about my Cutiefly, but we face off against Hala, and Cutiefly just kind of carries us against Hala. We use Cutiefly against the Mankey to 2-shot it with Fairy Wind, and then from there he's gonna switch out to his Makuhita, which I go for a few Fairy Winds. He can actually sand attack me to the point that I got really annoyed, so I gotta switch out. I switch out into my Grimer to just reset the evasion, go for a few moves, and then go back into my Cutiefly, stun spore into him, and then just I had to re-switch into my Grimer because it got that annoying. But anyways, go back into my Cutiefly to eventually knock out the Makuhita. From there, he's going to switch out to his Crab Brawler, which will go for a Z move. Doesn't do a lot of damage because I'm 4 times resistant to fighting types. From there, I'm able to knock out the Crab Brawler and knock out Hala, beat down the first Kahuna in the game. And then from there, we're going to move on into Akala Island, where we face off against Gladion. He's not too scary at all, you know, it's actually pretty easy. So we beat down Gladion, and we also face off against the Water type trial, which we use Dartrix. My Rowlet evolves to Dartrix, forgot to show that, but it's alright, as we beat down the Water trial pretty easily. And then from there, we can make our way into the water out in Route 4-ish, right next to West Volcano Peak, and we can start shiny hunting out here. Didn't really think about it. I was like, you know what, what's out here? Tentacool? That's cool. Wingo? That's also kind of cool, I guess. But anyways, we're gonna get a shiny Tentacool because we kind of need something to help us in the next trial. So we can catch ourselves a Tentacool, add it to my team, and then move on and go back for Scald actually. And then from there, we could go back into the Fire trial, face off against the Fire trials. Everyone's pretty easy because My Tentacle has Mystic, Water, and Scald as a move, so we're actually going to do a lot of damage. So from there, we're going to beat down the Totem Salasso in 2 shots and also the Salandit, and we're part Poison type, so we can't actually get hit with any Poison move. So from there, we beat down the Fire Trial and face up against the Grass Trial, which also isn't too difficult as we have a Rabombi next. My Cutiefly evolves into a Rabombi. To use Rabombi now, 2 Pollen Plus would knock out the Lurantis, as from there, I had to go out to my Tentacle and then my Grimer against the Cast Form, and this was actually more difficult than the actual Trial Pokemon. So from there, we cleared through the Grass Trial, and then from there, we make our way into the next Kahuna fight, which is going to be a little annoying. We're face up against Olivia next. Olivia is going to be the second Kahuna in the game. We start the battle off against her using my Tentacle. Now Tentacle is able to get a Scald off and then 2-shot into the Nose Pass. It's pretty nice. Okay, we're not gonna Nose Pass. Her next Pokemon will be a Bodor, which we go for a Scald. I land a Scald, don't get a burn on him, but it's gonna knock me down to low HP. I can't risk the fact that I might get paralyzed, so go out to my Rabombi to get a nice Pollen Puff and knock out her Bodor. Her next Pokemon will be a Lycanroc. Since I'm a Bug type, Lycanroc comes out. I thought I was gonna use a Z move, and that's exactly what happens. I go out to my Grimer next, predict the Z move, and then take it with my Eviolite. I don't take it that well though, as from there it's gonna chip me down with Rock Throw. And then I go out into my Dartrix next to just like, you know what, I go for my own Z move. She goes for a Rock Tomb with her Lycanroc and then crits me and knocks on my Dartrix. I'm like, no, my Dartrix. Why would that happen? Anyways, go out to my Rabombi. I'm like, this could be really bad. I hope this does a lot of damage. Luckily enough, Draining Kiss crits him and knocks him down to low HP. And then from there, I survive a Rock Throw because of that. Because of the healing I got, and then from there I could knock him out with another Draining Kiss. As we beat down Olivia, we could have lost the battle, but you know what, we didn't. As we beat down Olivia, get ourselves the second Grand Trial, and unfortunately lose my Dartrix. From there we gotta replace Dartrix by going into this cave over here. We could get Zubat or Diglett, either one could be really good. So we actually get ourselves a Diglett, so I'm like, oh, a Alolan Diglett, this was really good in my Elite Redux video, so you know what, let's try it out. So we get ourselves a Diglett, and then we move on into the Electric Trial in the game. We face off against the Vigavolt. We 2-shot it, and then 2-shot into the Charge Bug pretty easily. We also make our way into Tapu Village, where we're going to start shiny hunting out here as well. And our next Pokemon we're going to get out here is going to be a shiny Vulpix, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a Pelipper, and then running away from it. But you know what? We got what we wanted. We got a shiny Vulpix on our first attempt, so we'll take that. Catches us a Vulpix. I'm like, this is good lucks. Okay, we got Vulpix. We get Ninetales if we play it right. From there, we're going to move on to the Ghost Trial, where we're going to face off against the Totem Mimikyu. We do a lot of damage against it. We actually poison him twice to get the poison and the Lumberry off. And then from there, I go out to my Tentacle. Tentacle is able to outspeed and knock out the Mimikyu, and then knock out the Haunter for us, as, you know, we able to clear through the Ghost Trial. And we actually go back because I'm like, you know what, test our luck. We want this Mimikyu. If we get this Mimikyu, it is over. The game is over. You know, it's freebie. Unfortunately, we get ourselves a shiny Golbat, which I'm like, okay, you know, I got a lot of these when I was a kid. You don't get another one. We get ourselves one in the Luxury Ball, so we can evolve it pretty early. As from there, we can move on and face off against Guzma in his Po Town. Nothing too difficult. From there, we can move on and face off against the next Kahuna in the game, though. We're going to face off against Nanu next. Nanu is going to be the Dark type Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Rabombi. Now, Rabombi's here, just the Draining Kiss. Take a massive Power Gem, which is kind of annoying, but from there, I can knock out the Sableye, as next Pokemon will be a Persian. From there, I take a Fake Out and then just Draining Kiss once again. It looks like from this HP, it looks like he'll survive another Power Gem, so I actually risked it. He goes for a Hyper Potion. I'm like, okay, didn't need to risk it after all. From there, I gain my HP back from Draining Kiss and then knock him out with a second one. We knock out his Alolan Persian, as from there, his next boom will be a Krokorok. I go for a Draining Kiss to one-shot him, and we knock out Nanu and his Krokorok. We're going to clear through the third Grand Trial in the game, and from there, we're going to move on and face off against Guzma in the Aether Foundation with my Crobat. Crobat's pretty cool, you know, Crobat's a really good Pokemon. I was very lazy with him and did not get like any good moves for a Crobat, so I feel bad for him, but I didn't want Crobat to begin with, I'll be honest. From there, we beat down Lusming with my Ninetales, and from there, we can move on into the final Grand Trial in the game. We're face off against Hapu next. Now, Hapu, kind of scary. I wasn't sure about Hapu's Dugtrio, so I was like, you know what, gotta use my tankiest Pokemon, because I know Muck could do some work against him. So we're gonna start the battle off against Hapu's Dugtrio using my Muck, and looking off, my Muck's able to survive an Earthquake. I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna, you know, I thought I was gonna survive it better. But Crunch chipped not to red HP, and then I'm like, okay, he's getting Hyper Potion. I go for Crunch again to knock him out. Very nice. As the next Pokemon will be a Mudsdale. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. Into my Crobat, take the Z move, and then from there I could double out into my Tentacruel. Tentacruel has the Z move for the water move, so we're able to go for Hydro Vortex and knock out the Mudsdale. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Flygon, which I go out into my Ninetales. Ninetales is able to go for an Ice Beam to knock out the Flygon. Her next Pokemon after that will be Gastrodon. Go out to my Crobat. And then Crobat cannot do anything against the Gastrodon for some reason. So I go back out into my Tentacruel. Tentacruel is able to go for Scalds. A couple Scalds against him, burns him. And then from there, I could chip him down and then knock out the Gastrodon as we beat down Hapu and clear through the final grand trial in the game. But not the final trial, as we face off against the Como in the back. So we have to face off against the final trial in the game by facing off against him. And it wasn't as well as you would think. So you went out to my Ninetales, one-shot him, and then beat him down. So we beat down the final trial. We can move on and face off against Lusamine next. Lusamine is going to be the creator of everything because she's in this. I don't know why we didn't face off against Annihilego, but we face off against her boosted up team. We start the battle off against her using my Rabombi, and this Clefairy was so annoying. Number one, I misclicked using Pollen Puff, but from there I go for Quiver Dances. She goes for Moonblast, lowers my attack stat. Okay, that's fine the first time. It happened twice in a row, and then a third time later on, I'm like, this is so annoying. I just wasted 3 turns and I took damage. So it's going to take way longer. Once I get set up, which actually took 80% of the actual fighting time. From there, once we get set up, we can knock out the Clefable at +5 on each stat. +5 on my special attack and then +6 on everything else. From there, her next opponent will be a Miss Magius. I go for Dazzling Gleam and knock him out in one shot. Her next opponent after that will be a Milotic. I go for Dazzling Gleam, one shot it. And then from there, her next opponent will be a Beware. I'll Dazzling Gleam and one shot it as well. And then from there, her final Pokemon will be a Lilligant. I outspeed it, Pollen Puff to knock him out as we beat down Lusamine. And yeah, that was the runtime of the fight. We beat down Lusamine and we can move on. From there, we're going to face off against Gladion and also How. We kind of destroyed them. I mean, kind of weird. You know, if I didn't knock out this Lucario, would have lost the Pokemon. But I'm really actually kind of hoping to lose a Pokemon because my team seems like they lack some power. So I was kind of hoping I'll lose a Pokemon here. Did not lose a single Pokemon. So unfortunately, they were too weak. So we got to make our way into the Elite Four using my pretty mediocre. I wasn't too happy with my team, I'm not going to lie. So from there, we're going to face off against the Elite Four. Our first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Hala. We start the battle off against Hala using my Rabombi. It's been a minute since I played Sun and Moon, so I've kind of expected this to do a lot more damage to me. But lucky enough, it didn't. I also forgot I don't have Shield Dust, so I go for a Quiver Dance and then he just goes for a close combat. I'm like, oh, it doesn't do that much damage. I'm gonna get my HP back up and then force him to heal, so I get a bunch more Quiver Dances. I get 2 more Quiver Dances as he actually heals up, and then from there I could go for a Draining Kiss to knock him out. His next opponent will be a Crabomble, which I go for a Dazzling Gleam to one shot, and then from there his next opponent will be a Poliwrath, Dazzling Gleam to knock him out. Pretty simple. His next opponent after that will be a Primate. Outspeed him, Dazzling Gleam, knock him out. Super simple. His final opponent will be a Beware. I go for a Dazzling Gleam and knock him out as we beat down Hala and yeah, secure the first fight against the first Elite Four member. Now next up, we're going to face off against Olivia. Olivia's giving me a little harder as we start the battle off against her using my Tentacruel against her Relicanth. I go for a Scald against him, and then from there she goes for a Yawn. I go for a Toxic Spike just to set up some poison, and then from there I just gotta force up and wake up. Unfortunately, it takes all 3 turns, and then from there I could finally wake up and then Scald to knock him out. From there, I can knock out the Relicanth. Her next opponent will be a Probopass, which could have just stayed it. I stayed in just to break the sturdy. Scald him, hoping for a burn, didn't get it, but I get Thunder Wave in the process, which is annoying. Go out to my Dugtrio next. I was like, oh, of course, that's what I was scared about, my Tentacruel. But from there, take the Earth Power and then Earthquake to knock him out, which is nice. And then from there, her next opponent will be a Lycanroc, which I'm like, why would it come out with a Lycanroc? I'm like, I think I can't take the Z move. Honestly, I don't know why I expected to use the Z move, but I was at low HP. I was expecting her to use the Z move, but she doesn't. So I go for an Iron Head, just go for the flinch. But she doesn't go for the Z move, and then Crunch, it knocks me out anyways. I'm like, oh, if I knew it was going to go for Crunch, I would have gone to anyone else, but it didn't know. So I thought I was going to go for the Z move. It didn't. I go to my Muk to knock out the Lycanroc. Her next opponent will be a Carbink, which you go for a Gunk Shot and then goes for a Reflect. So I gotta go out into my Tentacruel to chip him down and knock him out with a Scald. Her next opponent after that will be the Golem, which I go into my Muk, and then it gets really complicated. She used 3 different full restores. I'm like, how many full restores do you got, woman? So from there, I gotta switch between my entire team I get into my Rabombi. Eventually, Rabombi's able to go for a Draining Kiss and knock him out as we beat down Olivia just barely. But it got really annoying. So from there, we're going to move on and face off against Accelera next. Accelera is going to be the Ghost type Elite Four member, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Ninetales. Now, Ninetales immediately gets faked out, but I go for Dazzling Gleam to one-shot him because there's no point. I'm going to switch him out anyway, so don't want to go for Nasty Spot to set up. Her next move will be a Delmine, so I'm like, oh, you know what, I could have set up on this. I go out into my Muck instead and take a slam and eventually knock him out with crunches. So 2 crunch would knock him out. Waste his full restores, which I'm fine with. Knock out the Delmines, as her next boom will be a Power Send. This thing could get kind of scary. I go out into my Crobat. Crobat's able to bite into him and then force the Iron Defense. Go out into my Tentacruel. He doesn't actually hit me at all, so I go for a Scald, and then from there, she goes for an Earth Power. And from there, I survived it pretty nicely, and then Scald twice to knock him out, and then eventually knock out the Power Send. Her next opponent after that will be a Frostlass. So I'm like, ooh, this thing could get scary. I go out to my Muck after this. I take a massive Shadow Ball. I'm like, please don't go for a Blizzard. It goes for Confuse Ray, and I go for a Crunch, and luckily lands it. Knocks out the Frostlass, which is nice. And then from there, her final opponent will be a Drifblim, which I go out into my Ninetales. Ninetales, it will go for a few Ice Beam to freeze it, and then Nasty Plot, and then knock him out. So we end up being down the Drifblim and also being down Accelera. Now we gotta go on into the final Elite Four member before the champion. We're gonna face off against Kahili next. We're gonna start the battle off against Kahili using my Tentacruel. Now I wanted to set up using my Ninetales, but this thing was in the way with Steel Wing and everything, so I gotta go for my Tentacruel to go for Scald. And luckily enough, it 2-shots into him. So we're able to 2-shot and knock out the Skarmory. Her next opponent will be a Mandibuzz. I'm like, okay, maybe I could burn it and then set up. Unfortunately, it doesn't get burned. It's going to actually Brave Bird into me a few times. Kind of annoying. I'm like, you know what? I don't think Scald can kill it from here. So I'm going to go for the Z move. You know, might be a little overkill, but I was not trusting my luck with this. So Hydro Vortex will knock out the Mandibuzz. Her next opponent will be a 2-Cannon. I need reinforcements. So I go out to my Crobat, takes a Beak Blast, and I'm like, okay, this might be a sack situation. So I gotta sack my Crobat for Confuse Ray, hoping it actually just hits itself in confusion and maybe I could just slip out. But unfortunately, he's gonna knock me out with a Beak Blast. So Crobat goes down, unfortunately. But from there, go out into my Ninetales. Ninetales able to go for an Ice Beam and knock out the 2-Cannon. Knock out the 2-Cannon? Yes, it does. Because the confusion actually comes in handy. It knocks itself out because Ice Beam doesn't kill for some reason. Her next opponent after that will be her own Crobat, which goes for Supersonic. But looking up, I break through it, Ice Beam to one-shot it, and then her final Pokemon will be this Oricorio, which is a fire and flying type, so I can go for Revelation Dance. Go out to my Muck next, and Muck's able to survive pretty easily, and then Gunk Shot to knock him out. Look up, oh wow, it missed. Okay, that's pretty bad. Look enough, it didn't get flinched, and I'm going to survive a second Air Slash, and then Gunk Shot to knock him out. So we got lucky at the end there too. Wow, almost lost that. From there we beat down Kahili, and now it's time to face off against a champion. We're gonna face off against Professor Kukui, and we're start the battle off against him using my Tentacruel. He goes for Stone Edge, and then I go for Scald against his Lycan Rock. So lucky enough, it didn't set up Stealth Rocks. From there, he's gonna switch up to a Snorlax next. I gotta sack my Tentacruel, hope for a burn here, and lucky enough, I do get the burn. So that is a big win for us, and he goes for high horsepower. He's gonna knock me out. I get a free chance to set up Toxic Spikes, so we'll take that. I go into my Muck next, and Muck is gonna get a little grimy. I'm gonna go for Minimize to just minimize, get my evasion +6. You know what? It's a little grimy. He gets full restored up, so you know what? That's fine. I think that's even. He gets full HP. I Gunk Shot into him, and then from there, his next opponent will be a Braviary, which I was kind of scared of. So I go for a Gunk Shot against him, and Gunk Shot luckily lands. He goes actually second on the following turn. I think he went for Whirlwind, so I'm able to land a Gunk Shot and knock him out as well. From there, his next opponent will be Incineroar, which I was kind of scared of because his Z move will actually break through me. So lucky enough, I survived an Infernal Overdrive from him, and then just barely. From there, I could Rock Tomb into him twice to knock him out, and then from there, his next opponent after that will be his Ninetales. Lucky enough, his Ninetales has no defenses at all. He goes for Safeguard, so I go for Gunk Shot and one-shot the Ninetales. His final opponent will be a Magnezone, and this thing took, I think, 3 different full restores as well. This thing got super annoying, but Crunch at least builds up the defense drop, so my Crunch does a little more damage each time he wants to heal up. So we're able to chip him down eventually and knock out the Magnezone. Lucky he didn't land any moves in between that often, so we're able to survive and just barely beat Professor Kukui, because I don't know what I was gonna do against the Magnezone, but I don't think my other Pokemon, Rabombi or Ninetales, was able to really do anything about it. But we've cleared through Pokemon Sun and Moon using only dual typing Pokemon. It was pretty fun. My team could have been a lot more fun. I'm not honestly kind of upset that I didn't get anyone that fun. I could have got like a whole different squad actually. You know what, thinking back to it, I kind of fumbled with this challenge. But anyways, maybe I'll revisit it in the future. Anyways, that'll be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name has been Alpha, and I hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.